My name is Mary Cheney. I am the owner and managing attorney of the law offices of Mary and Cheney, PLLC, better known as the Cybersecurity Law Firm of Texas, and welcome to the Breach Whisperer blog. In this blog, we will be talking about privacy and cybersecurity issues worldwide. For those of you that are familiar with my written blog, this is an extension of that or replacement for it, depending on my time and my ability to record or write blog posts. So, I mean, if you guys are interested in my previous works, if you can click on the link below, and it'll take you to my law firm website where the blog posts are there. Don't forget, speaking of links, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. So I know you guys are asking me why in the world or would we want to watch anything about cybersecurity and privacy. I mean, it can be highly technical. It can be full of acronyms. It could be legalese. It can be technical terms. And, because I feel like cybersecurity and privacy are not going away. And, I want to be able to share the knowledge that I have. I mean, in this video blog, we will be trying to educate the masses on cybersecurity and privacy. And things that you come across on a daily basis that you may not even think about that may affect you going forward. So we will do this through articles, excerpts of speaking events that I may do, just basically any random things that, I come across and, find that I'm, hitting record on certain things. I think that it's very important. I have a unique perspective. I think, based on my background, I could look at things from the cybersecurity perspective, the privacy perspective, it could be the hacker or the criminal perspective, the law enforcement or investigator perspective. It's so many different things that, are happening in cybersecurity and privacy that you guys may not think about. And being an owner of my own law practice, the things that come across my desk are amazing. So be warned, I may switch hats mid-sentence. And, hopefully it's just to get you guys to think about things and in a different way. And please feel free to send me anything that you may find that you think I may find interesting. It may just make the blog. You never know. Caveat here, I'm a public speaker. I don't believe in too many edits. If I mess up, I mess up. So let's get started on your privacy and cybersecurity journey. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the blog today. So, still talking coronavirus and still talking how it doesn't seem to me that there is an area of our world that is not going to be touched by this. And I really want to take this time out. I was reading an article on Education Week, and of course I'll put it in the notes section, the article that I'm referring to. But what's really interesting is how it's affecting K-12. Now, as many of you know, I am a college instructor. I teach online courses at the University of Cincinnati. Recently, was reached out to by SMU to do some cybersecurity classes for them as well. And so but I also have a 7th and 9th grader in my house. And I've been talking to other parents of school-age children in all those ranges. And it just, the way that the shift from, because as many of you know, if you have children, schools are closed. And the shift from, on going to school every day, to distance learning has been inconsistent. It has been, I mean, even in the state of Texas, it's inconsistent just based on the actual who's actually able to get access to certain resources. And I've seen some creative things being done by school districts across the country in regards to access. So the issue with distance learning, of course, is, not all students are created equal. Now, within my children's school district, at 7th grade, everybody gets iPads. They get a school iPad that they will carry with them from 7th grade and through 12th grade. So they actually have a device. Now, whether or not they have internet access at home is something completely different, but they have a device that is given to them. And that's not necessarily consistent across the state nor across the country in regards to students' ability to access the internet and to the switch to distant learning. I mean, even So like I was saying, my school district, they give them iPads at seventh grade. They actually have access to Google Classroom. They have access to Canvas, and they have other ed tech tools that they can utilize. And if you listen to my previous blog, some of those things I question. Just like, teachers being able to sign off for my underage student, a particular to use this particular app without parental consent. And we're not going to go there right now. That's not the purpose of this particular blog. But the thing is, it's as things are changing, you're seeing like they canceled the SAT, they canceled the Texas has a what is it called? A STAR test. That's what it's called. That the students take. They canceled that. They've canceled they have these now. They've even announced these no risk final exams. And I was just thinking about how, this whole switch to distance learning is affecting everybody. And, the cybersecurity and privacy challenge is long term, but in the short run, just getting people access from a continuous learning perspective to these resources to continue learning. So, I mean, I know, like I said, my kids, the transition wasn't that bad. It took them 2 weeks. They were on spring break. They extended spring break, and then they started back classes on the 23rd. So they've had a week of this distance learning, and the teachers just moved it to Canvas and to Google Classroom. And sometimes they're holding these Zoom meetings as well to have touch points with the students. But then I talked to a parent in Austin that her school district, they say distance learning, but she hasn't received any assignments from any of those teachers. Now, all of my children's teachers have reached out to me personally, not necessarily individually one-on-one, but through email, and kept us abreast of what's going on, what the expectations of the students are, and everything like that. So, so now you have a situation where about, I don't know, let's say half the year, or at least a little less than half, I guess, of the year is now going to be impacted by this virus, because I don't believe my children are going to go back to school this school year. And so it's like, okay, so what do we do? And teachers are really being creative, and they're, doing Twitter, they're doing, all of these other things to keep children engaged. But it was interesting. What's interesting to note is, like, we'll get to the cybersecurity and privacy issues, but as a parent, you always worry about screen time. And, a study came out that warned against screen time, that the overall time spent on those devices goes to, it's linked to diminished language capacity and development, regardless of the quality of the education that they're actually interacting with. So you have a spike in screen time. And then because of the spike in screen time, you have these underlying potential cybersecurity and especially privacy issues. We'll talk about the privacy issues first, because we talked about Google Classroom. We talked about Canvas. We talked about Instagram and Facebook and all these interactive things that teachers are doing. But I can guarantee you there are some privacy laws that they are violating in order to get this content to the kids, because of course, you utilize those services. They're collecting geolocation of the kids. They're connecting, IP address information. They could be a collecting name if it's in Google Classroom, of course. They're browsing history and all of this other stuff. So you have these privacy concerns underlying the way that they're getting education out there to students. And we're in a temporary, hopefully, prayerfully, a temporary state right now. But again, we always have to watch, what are we really giving up for the sake of convenience at this point that we are going to have a hard time clawing back later. And then with the cybersecurity issues, the more kids, okay, we talked about home networks, we talk about attackers. Kids are on home networks too, right? Those devices are on home networks too. And then also, my kids do have a VPN that my son said he never uses. This is the ninth grader. He never uses a VPN. We talked about that too. But they're using this technology, and now if they're all going to be remote in this distance learning capacity, you're going to see an uptick, I believe, in hackers attacks on the education sector. It's already there. It's already vulnerable. You already don't have the necessary individuals with the capacity to secure a network, but now they're going to be targeted, right? So now those phishing emails and all of those things that we've talked about before, now they're going to be a target. And we've been seeing some interesting things out there with ransomware. Just as a side note, I mean, with ransomware, what we're seeing now is an uptick. If you don't pay the ransom, they'll expose your data. So they're putting up websites specifically designed to, now they're taking the data. They're not just encrypting it, they're taking it. Then they're saying, if you don't pay it, we're going to expose it. Just imagine if a school system gets hit, how much trouble would they be in if they got the kids' information, they got the teachers, the administrators' salary, all of this information that's on the network. A hacker, targets that, gets that, asks the school to pay a ransom, the school doesn't, and they just display it on a public website. Oh my God! Can you imagine just the outrage of my children's personally identifiable information being exposed during a ransomware attack of the school system? I mean, all of these things are things that 2 months ago we weren't worried about. I mean, I made some statements previously, and I honestly didn't take it seriously as I should have then, and I do now. But just the change in what this pandemic has exposed on all levels of what we need to do in order to protect ourselves is there. So hopefully you guys are staying safe and you guys are understanding that there's a balancing act being done right now. But again, be careful on, especially with our children's information and what we're actually allowing to do for the sake of convenience. At the very least, we should be asking our educators to utilize reputable technology and ed tech and things like that. That's going to prevent any of these types of things from happening in the future. So it's something to watch out for. We'll continue to watch out for it. Stay tuned for our random thought for today. Thanks. Would you know if you had a security breach? Would you know who to call if you had a security breach? Do you know your requirements by law to report when you have a security breach? Do you have a written incident response plan? If not, you may want to call us, the Cybersecurity Law Firm of Texas, where we have incident response workshops where we walk our clients step by step through the creation of an incident response capability so you will know and you'll be able to respond. If you're interested, please go to our website and sign up for one of our sessions now. Hi everyone, welcome to my random thought. So staying with the education type of theme we were doing today, students, parents, and students, if you're listening, watch out. What we're seeing out there, of course, is downloads of textbooks and downloads of different type of essays and things like that. This is not only through K-12, but this is through college. They're infected. There are a lot of things out there. I think, and there was in 2019, 234,000 pre-written essays had malware in it. So when you're downloading these essays, when you're downloading these textbooks to your devices, as you're now on this distance learning platform, be wary of where you're getting that information from. Reputable sites. Please, please, please ensure that you're doing that, and ensure that you're not trying to get plagiarize someone else's work. But just be careful on the things that you're downloading as you continue down this path of distance learning. And teachers out there, make sure you are giving your students or pointing your students to the right sites that they won't get infected. Okay, thanks a lot. Have a great day. Thanks again for listening to the Breach Whisperer blog, sponsored by the Cybersecurity Law Firm of Texas. Don't forget to like this post and subscribe to our channel so you can get updates of when we post new things on our channel. In addition, spread the word for me, right? Let's get out there and tell a friend, and so they can all become paranoid cybersecurity and privacy people. Don't forget, if you would like to connect with me on socials, you can connect with me on Twitter at Mary N. Cheney. Use my middle initial always. For my nonprofit, Minorities in Cybersecurity, that is at Mike Leadership, and Instagram and Facebook at MN Cheney Law. And you can find me on LinkedIn just by searching for my name. So if you're interested, connect with me. Thanks again. And just remember, awareness equals knowledge.